I'm Alexander Pezo, and this is Elevate Your Worth. Elevate Your Worth is an empowering podcast and YouTube show. I'll engage with individuals who have wholeheartedly pursued their passion, often against the odds, and have carved out their unique paths to success. Leveraging my diverse background in sports, corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, and design, I look forward to helping individuals tell their story that may never have been heard before. Welcome to Elevate Your Worth. I'm Alexander Pezo, and this segment or this show is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be on financial literacy. It's going to be on personal development. But before I get to our guests, I want you to know Elevate Your Worth is brought to you by Ball Glove Development, in addition to sponsored by Suits and More. Our guest today is Kidane Aaron. Kidane is a young man who bet on himself. He decided he didn't want to go off to school full time. He didn't want to go into corporate. He wanted to get into the financial literacy aspect of life, into the financial game. And when you hear his story and you hear some of the things that he brings to the table, you're going to be extremely impressed. But more importantly, you're going to want to support him in terms of his business. So without further ado, Kidane Aaron. Kidane, how you doing, my man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Listen, the first time I met you, you walked up to me, and initially, I didn't know if you were a telemarketer, if you were somebody trying to sell me a product. I was with my family, and we were going into an establishment, and you stopped me, and what drew me to you was the way you approached me. You approached me. You said, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" You said, obviously whatever I had on that day, you liked the outfit, but you immediately asked me what I did. And I had a lot of respect for that. And then in having conversation, then we exchanged numbers. You said, "Hey, is it okay if I give you a call?" And not only did you ask that, you followed up. I didn't call you back intentionally to see if you would call back, and you called back. And then we ended up having a conversation. And I told you I had a platform that I thought would be great for you. It's a great way to kind of introduce yourself to the world and tell them more about not only what you do, but who you are. Because I'm real big into servant leadership. Oftentimes people are always trying to upsell us on products as opposed to creating an experience, creating and adding value, and providing a service, right? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, just a couple things about you, right? When I was, going through and doing my research and whatnot, one of the things that you said is you spoke to the fact that not only are you into financial services and how life insurance can build generational wealth, right? But I'm a firm believer it takes 2 generations before you can start building generational wealth. So that means that 3rd generation may be impacted unless, your trust fund baby and they leave you something, to build real wealth. And then you spoke to not only that, but the personal development aspect. So I'm going to stop and I want you to tell the viewers and tell the world more about Kidane Aaron.
Straight out of high school, I was like, is college the move for me? Because looking at research and background, looking at the evidence, you can see a lot of people straight out of high school, they're either in debt and as well as they go to college, they don't really know what they want in life. And they're just put into like this continuous cycle. They don't even know how money works or, how they can get around the world. But their parents told them, hey, get a degree, a job with benefits as well as, and you'll be fine. But as you can see right now in the economy, I'm pretty sure they're taking pension away. I mean, they keep saying Social Security is going to go away, but who knows if that's true or not. But as we can see, the traditional just stay at your job for 40 plus years and they'll pay you back is going away. So I was like, hey, is this really the right move for me? Am I just going to slave away at a job and hopefully be successful? Because actually, you're not even guaranteed a job after you complete your degree. There's a lot of people who got their degree and they actually are working at McDonald's right now. And that is like absolutely terrible. You put all this work into staying up late at night just for you not to use what you wanted to go to college for. So then me and my friend were chatting. We were like, hey, what can we do? So we were like, okay, we can go straight into a trade. Let's do a trade. Trades are always needed, right? So I decided to go into electrician trade. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, that's definitely not the move for me because for my goals and aspirations, I know staying in the trade is not gonna work because I'm just gonna be continue to be working for someone else while I'm not making my dreams come true.
So really what it boiled down to was for yourself, you saw a different path.
Yeah, that's
Correct?
pretty much it.
Right. So in seeing that different path, what experience did you have that, or when were you, as Maya Angelou would say, when did you get sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Someone came up to me and they presented me an opportunity on how to get to the financial services. And I was like, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for because I'm literally, break my back just for these folks. And I was tired because there are some goals I really want to achieve. And being in this environment, I'm not going to achieve it that way. And I know.
So why did you think you weren't going to achieve it? Because maybe those around you, they always say, if you want to change the people around you, you have to change the people around you, right? And sometimes that means, right, whatever your aspirations are, one of the reasons my mom would always say, don't share your goals and dreams with individuals because their job is to break you down,
Yeah.
not lift you up. And I didn't understand that when I was young because, something new would be taking place in my life and you want to tell those people that you think are important, right? But sometimes what you have to understand is individuals will take things that you're sharing out of the kindness of your heart because you look at them as someone you either look up to or someone you love and respect. They may take it as you're bragging or you're boasting because that may not be the same aspiration they have for their life.
Yeah.
Right? So I've learned that, even in this podcast, that you can't tell everyone, right? You just have to plan the work and work the plan. And everyone has different beliefs, but for me, it's, I have what I call a 5F system, right? Faith, family, finance, fitness, and my one fun one that when my wife will let me have is a little bit of fashion, right? Because I have a fashion background as well. So for me, that's kind of how I try to systematically lead our home and lead my life. So one of the things you spoke to that you do that you're going to be doing is, from a personal development standpoint, you'll show individuals how to goal set, right?
Yes.
But here's the one that I love: mindset mastery, cultivating a positive and resilient mindset to overcome challenges and embrace opportunities. That's huge. I want you to speak to me right here on that one in particular.
Mindset is pretty much everything. It really determines who wins or lose because it's not just everybody sets goals, right?
Yeah.
But the person who wins is who changes their mind and frames on how they're going to approach things, as well as tackle difficulties, objections, and opportunities. Because some people they say I can't, I can't, I can't, and of course, if you keep saying that word I can't, you're never going to achieve it. Because when let's say Michael B. Jordan or any of the famous overachievers, they don't say I'm trash or anything of this. They tell themselves I'm the greatest player alive and I'm gonna become better than everybody else. They're not being cocky or anything like that. They're actually just stating it into the fact that this is who they want to become. And they're instructing their mind and frame how they're gonna become this person. And a growth mindset is you look at failure as opportunities to grow, as well as any obstacles. You don't take no for an answer. Because a lot of people are actually afraid of failure, but you need to have the will to fail to be able to succeed. Because there's a lot of people regret doing things that they didn't do, but most people don't regret things that they did do. And that's a huge factor in what a successful person does versus a non-successful person.
And because that's such when I say blanket statement, there are so many people that deem success as many other things, right? I think when you look at, say, Mother Teresa, what we deemed as success, I tell you what, I would take her success over my success. When I look at, President Carter, who just passed away, and Lord rest his soul, who lived to be 100, who was a servant leader, a philanthropist, his level of success that he attained in many areas away from politics, going to refugee camps and different things of that nature and helping out the poor. His level of success may be different than yours.
Exactly.
So when you speak to success, are we speaking financially? Are we speaking spiritually? Are we speaking motivationally? What do you deem as success?
A lot of people deem their success literally off of things, materialistic things that do not matter or have any value to them. Because a lot of times society tries to push, this is what success is, this is what success is. But talking with, like colleagues and friends, people are successful and they have, they're not making that much money, but they have a family, a wife, 3 children, and they're living fine and happily. And I would deem that success because they're happy with their lives and what's going on.
One of the reasons I want to do this is because I think when you get away from what societal standards are, and start looking maybe from a biblical principle standpoint, start looking from a standpoint of things you just spoke to. Sometimes, have you ever heard the saying, KISS? Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes the things that are the simplest bring you the most joy and the most success, right? But we get so caught up in chasing that thing, and we're like the hamster on the wheel. We keep chasing, we keep chasing, we keep chasing. But if we scale back to simplicity, right, we're not chasing, it's coming to us. Because, I think our energy attracts the things in life that have been preordained for us.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, yours by divine right. That's what.
Yes, it's kind of like that divine intervention. It's already preordained, right? So if we look, because we spoke about the mindset, right, and we'll get to the budgeting and saving and financial literacy. When you look from a financial education perspective, right? So, and hopefully you're okay with me saying this, you still live with your mom, correct? Mm-hmm. I think that's beautiful. Here's why. In a lot of communities, but in the worst community, in the Black and brown community, at 18, guess what every parent says?
Yeah, get out the house.
You're grown. You're grown. But in real life, that's when your life is just beginning, right? Your formidable years of, if you have a boy or a girl, they always say, fathers, we love our daughters and we raise our sons, right? So when you hit 18, that's really, it's almost like going through driver's ed. When I went through driver's ed, Mr. Baxby, I still remember to this day, he would sit over there on the right side. And back then, the driver's ed cars had a brake and a brake pedal on the passenger side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what he would do as you were driving, if he felt like you were going a little bit too fast, he'd give you an opportunity to slow down. But he was that extra set of hands and eyes that might just slow it down a little bit for you. And then he explained to you why he was doing it, right? What happens is at 18, we think we're ready to go take on the world. And here's an area where I struggle, and I won't get into this, but this is an area I struggle. At 18, I've seen more young men and women ruin their lives with, different credit card companies that come on campus and they give you the credit card, you sign your name and you get $5,000 and you think that gives you a badge of honor just to go out and swipe, but they didn't tell you got to pay the bill back. Mm-hmm. Or you're 18 and they feel as if you're prepared and ready to go off and serve your country and protect your country, right? And then, at 18, you're okay to sign a huge loan with Sallie Mae and Freddie Mac, and you go out and you get these loans, but no one tells you on the other side what's waiting for you if you haven't taken care of business. And what I mean by taking care of business, you can graduate, still not be gainfully employed, because some employers will then tell you, hey, you don't have the adequate experience. So guess what you do? Or they'll say, hey, you don't have a master's degree. It's almost like they're working in cahoots. Mm-hmm. You go get a master's degree, then they say you don't have enough experience, right? In essence, you haven't been grandfathered in. We always talk about how nepotism is it's not a good thing. That was my mindset probably 30 years ago. My mindset now is nepotism is a great thing. If we all had somebody within an industry that could help pull us up and help get us in, help get us started, I think that's how the other half lives, right? Prime example, one of the schools I went to, most of the white kids that were going off to college, they were going off to college not to decide what they wanted to be. They were going off so that they could come back and take over the family business, or they could come back and work in the family business. So if it was a law firm, right, You go to undergrad, you go to JD school, you come back, you work in the firm, you work your way up, and then you get to a point where either A, you become a partner, or B, maybe you're at an age now where, hey, we're going to give you the keys to the palace, right? I feel as if in the black and brown community, a lot of us are first generation college educated. So our parents are telling us to go off, get a degree, and get a good job, work 80 hours over 2 weeks. And if your boss tells you to go do whatever, you go do it. That's not how life looks. Because now you got that student loan that kicks in, right? You've put those 80 hours in every 2 weeks, and you know as well as I do, it's like being a college athlete. You never practice the amount of time they allot. It's always more. Because in order to grow, you have to show that you're willing to spend that extra time. So you spend that extra time. Meanwhile, your salary is not conducive to the loans that you have that you have to pay back. And guess what societal standards tell you to do? I graduated. So guess what you got to show everybody? I'm gonna go out and get me a car loan. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna get me I'm gonna go out and get me a house loan. Then I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have 2.5 kids, a couple cars and a dog, right? So it's repetitive. So you're doing what I call treadmilling. You're just running in place. You think about it. If you want to go for a run, do you want to go out into the climate, or do you want to treadmill? Because treadmilling, you just run in place.
Yeah.
When you go out into the climate, you go up hills, you go down hills, you get to take it all in, right? You get that warm air, you get the cold air. But I don't think college prepares us for life. I think it prepares us for debt.
Yeah.
I'll stop right there and let you chime in.
Yeah, I agree as well. Like a lot of the stuff that taught in colleges aren't really fundamental to build yourself as a functional person in society. Because you need to know how to manage your finances as well as handle people. Because a lot of the things you do, it involves communication with the other people around you. And college does not really teach you that. Because in order to get money, you have to talk to people. In order to give people money. And it all really revolves on communications that you have with your spouse, as well as your family members and anybody of that nature. And college, it's when you go there, you're supposed to become a well-rounded individual, a proud, or I guess American, in terms of you need to be able to stand your ground as well. Learn maybe survival skills, something that it gives you some sustenance. But college, they just push them out, and you just go in just as you started. Because I know a lot of classes that in college right now are like gender studies and things of some of that nature. But is that going to help you become a functional society or a functional being in society? And my personal opinion, I think not.
So let's go back. You said a lot of the classes now are what you refer to as gender studies. Tell me more.
So I was actually, what's his name? His name starts with, it was Charles. I was reading some of the things that he does. He goes out and interviews the students on college campuses. And then one of the students was saying, well, I think it's great that they give us these classes because it develops us as a well-rounded individual in terms of gender studies. I'm pretty sure it's just, you just study the supposed other genders. But they're saying that, well, we learn this stuff, and then we also learn things that, well, in my opinion, don't really have any beneficial value to you. But they just give you all this wordplay and word propaganda in order to just, I guess, fill your mind. Because actually, looking at the study, a lot of college students that go into there, they just learn a lot of information that's not applied. And as you can see, they don't have a lot of critical thinking that's gained. It's like literally the same. So they just go and gain a lot of knowledge, but they have no application with this knowledge. And I think that's kind of one of the number one problems.
So I'm going to tell you what I think are three lost arts, right? And three of the most critical things for anybody in life in terms of being successful, right? Communication skills. Well, let me start with this one for me goes, it's overarching, right? First, you got to have servant leadership, right? You have to have great oral and technical skills in terms of writing and or being an orator, right? You have to have the ability to critically think, right? And you have to have the ability to cultivate relationships. I don't think there's any course that speaks to relationship development.
Exactly.
If you don't know how to develop relationships, I was told years ago, it used to be, it's not what you know, it's who you know. No, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Who's willing, prime example, this podcast is being produced by Connects Media, right? So one of the beautiful things about this podcast being brought to us and being produced by them, I was introduced in another realm. We happen to be having conversation. Through that conversation, that's how I found out. So again, that speaks to that one aspect, the communication. I think with texting and tech, it lends to a lot of what I refer to as transactional business. When you do transactional business, you don't cultivate relationships. Yeah. Someone comes through a checkout line, you say, would you, let's say you're at Target. And I always love to go to Target and you buy something electronic. The first thing you get up to the front of the line, what do they do? Would you like to get the warranty plan?
Oh, yeah.
No one says,
did you enjoy it?
Hey, John. Hey, Kidane. How you doing today? Did you enjoy your experience? Did anyone assist you? Were you able to find everything okay? It's immediately going to the upsell. The world has become so transactional. It's about the upsell. It's about what's next. What's in it for me? I call it the whiffum. What's in it for me, not the experience I create for you. And when you don't create experiences for people, right? We work off, if you don't remember anything else, we work off two things in this world: repeat and referral business. The job that I do for you will lead to someone else, right? Now, I don't go in it with the mindset that I did a good job, so you have to send me someone. I go in it with the mindset that if I show servant leadership and I create a good experience and I provide quality service, everything else takes care of itself, right? So here's where I want to go with that when I speak to creating quality service, right? If I ask you the top 3 things from a financial services or personal development aspect, you can go 2 with the personal development, or you can go 2 with the financial services and then 1 with the other. What are your top 3? What are the top 3 skill sets that you can provide me that's going to help me build, grow, and scale my business, or build, grow, and scale as an individual?
Clarity. Clarity will lead to success. You need to know what you want out of life and what your goals are. Without clarity, you're just walking around, with the chicken with its head cut off. Mm-hmm. That's number 1. Number 2, I would say you need to find a way to invest in yourself. You as a person, the knowledge that you gain, the knowledge that you use is the most important. You are your most valuable asset. So you need to train your brain. I think your brain is like 1/50th of the weight, and it has like the most important value in order to your life. You need to be able to train that thing and make sure to use it to its success. Because when you sharpen your mind and sharpen your brain, you are a lethal tool. Create a budget and stick to it. That's what I would say. A lot of people, they don't track their allocations, how much money they're coming in, as well as
cash in, cash out.
Cash out. They don't do any of that. They just spend. I say that's a very high priority in terms of getting onto financial success.
One of the things I think, there are two methods of credit transactions that I keep in mind, or debits that I keep in mind, that I think really took people away from that. When you think back to the 70s and 80s, you had the old-fashioned ledger. If you wrote a check, you put it in the book, right? But banks and financial institutions, they got clever. They came up with something called a debit card. I don't own one, right? Because most people, they go in and they swipe and they don't account for the transaction because they don't have a ledger. They just keep the receipt. But 9 times out of 10, they don't go back and track it. Now they just go online and look to see what came out and see how much is in there, right? And the credit card. The credit card allows you to swipe with the minimal payment. But what they're not telling you is all that deferred compounded interest, right? So you end up having more going out than you have going in from that aspect, right? So I think when you say to financial literacy, I think everyone needs to have a better understanding of cash in, cash out. But I'm a firm believer, a third, right? A third goes towards household and bills, right? A third goes towards reinvesting in myself or my family. And a third goes into saving, tithes, offering, things of that nature, right? I think when you can figure out a system, and it may take time, and that third may be small to start out with, but that's okay. It's okay. We're looking for progression, not perfection, right? But the key is you have to be willing to start somewhere.
Exactly.
So, Kidane, here's my final question for you. Give me one financial book you feel that the audience, everyone should be reading, or an article that you feel could help take their financial literacy to the next level.
I would say Atomic Habits by James Clear. It delves into financial literacy, not as much as an aspect, but the core foundation of what it brings is what's going to help you be there. Because even it mentions something, a millionaire who spends a lot of money all the time is not going to continue being a millionaire. But someone who's, not as financially, savvy as a millionaire, but saves here and there will accumulate until, and grow wealth. And
Right.
It's all about those small things that you do, the consistency and building upon that really determines success. Because everybody sees on the poster board, oh, look at him, he's famous, blah, blah, blah. But they don't see all the work he put in behind. And that's the small things that he did every single day.
Yeah, I love to hear the overnight success, right? He's an overnight success. Well, that took 25 years for him.
Yeah.
You just learned about it, right? It's almost like that brand you start buying or you start wearing that says established in 1969 and you were nowhere to be found, right? Well, it's funny you said that. So I'm doing a segment on another segment, but here are 5 books that I recommend for growth. Atomic Habits by James Clear, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and Seven Basic Roots for Every Christian by Larry Olson. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Well, you can find me on social media. It is IamKidane.Aaron, and that is my handle.
IamKidane.Aaron. Kidane, it was my pleasure.
Yes, you as well.
I got a lot out of this, man. Right. It was great talking to you. I'm looking forward to watching you continue to build, grow, and scale in this industry, man, and become one of those financial tycoons. Just don't forget about us small people, man. All right. Here at Elevate Your Worth. All right?
All right.
Take care. I'm Alexander Pezo, Kidane Aaron, financial literacy, financial guru, self-development coach. Again, as we always like to say on this show, embrace your vibration so that you can help the next generation. Talk to you soon. For more episodes of Elevate Your Worth, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow I Am Alexander Pezo on all social media platforms.